This is Russ. Today is an overcast day, so I figured this would be a good time to try out the GoPro Hero 9 to see how well it does on an overcast day. I also promised somebody that I would try stopping at every stop sign just to get a feel for how that feels like. Now, I put a questionnaire on one of the YouTube forums or YouTube groups, asking whether people stop at stop signs or they don't, and why they do what they do. It was interesting to note, well, a lot of people said they definitely stop. There's other people who say they stop only if they think they need to stop because they felt that sometimes it's actually not as safe to stop. A lot of them mentioned the Idaho law or some type of adoption of Idaho law within their state, that you treat stop signs more like yield signs, which is kind of how I kind of do it, although in my state you're supposed to stop. So we're going to stop at every single stop sign. I mentioned to him that I felt that dynamically as a video it's less less dynamic if you're stopping every single time, but let's see how it goes. Now, we stopped here because there's a school crossing. Kids were crossing, so the crossing guard stopped everybody. So everyone's going rather slowly here, so we're just going to stay on the road with everyone else. So I am going, alright, I think we'll go off to the side here and make a stop. I'm going to the post office again. As you know, there's only a handful of mail that I actually do that requires me to go to the post office. But I kind of look forward to going to the post office now that I have a bike. And like before, I had to adjust my brakes. It seems like daily I am adjusting these brakes. After every ride, it needs another adjustment. And I think that's because the front brakes, there's one side of the brakes that's stationary and the other side of the brake pad that moves. The one that's stationary has a little ball bearing that fits next to this big circular pad, or I shouldn't say pad, it's a retention section, and that got lost. So when you click it, it doesn't have a click. That little ball bearing is what allows it to stay in place and has a click. So what's holding that right now is a piece of electrical tape. So I think the electrical tape loosens up, and so I don't get as good of a braking. That's a little scary because that means at any given moment I could be losing my brakes. Alright, so we're going to stop here. I'm going to do a left turn signal with my hand. We're going to wait for these cars to go by, and then we're going to go, which of course I can't do with this much traffic coming through because I can't get by it fast enough. Alright. So this road that we're on is a shared road for bikes and for cars. And behind me I have a school bus. So eventually he's going to probably try to pass me, but maybe not, because I think there's a school up ahead. He may just wait until I go by. So just to speed ourselves along to make it easier for him, I'm throttling hard. Today's weather is about 70 degrees. Like I said, it is overcast for the majority of things we're seeing here. Now, I made some changes to the GoPro the hyper, what do they call this thing? Hyper smooth? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Hyper smooth. That's their image stabilization. I had it on boost before, which is the highest level of stabilization. So I took it off of boost and just went to standard version of that. I don't know what they call it. And while it has less stabilization, it still should give some stabilization. And on top of that too, it should give me back some width, because I've read and seen on YouTube that about 10% of your width is lost if you put it on boost. So I wanted to see what that looks like when it's a little bit wider. I also changed my maximum ISO level from 1600 to 800, because really we don't go into areas that are really dark. So I figured, why put it on 1600? It'll just make it noisier if it gets into the dark areas. So we're in the shadows right now. Shadows of a truck that's next to us on the left side. So we'll just wait our turn here. There are no cars behind me, but there are cars on the left turn lane. So as you might know, on the last video that I published, I took a fall because my shoelace on my right shoe wrapped around the pedal, which means you can't put your foot down because your foot is now attached to the pedal. It's almost like people who use toe clips on their shoes that clip their shoes onto the pedals. If you can't get yourself out of that fast enough, you're going down because you can't put your foot down. That's essentially what happened to me with my shoelaces. So I have removed the shoelaces from my shoes. The shoelaces on my Adidas shoes are just decorative. I call it the cosmetic. The word should be decorative. It doesn't do anything. It's just there to make it look like you have shoelaces. But really, these shoes are slip-ons. So there's no real reason why I need to have shoelaces on it. And I had thought about that in the past, that what if this thing untied, what would happen? And sure enough, that's what happened. And of course, I chose to fall rather than try to use my left leg to support me and try to untie it off of there. I mean, if I could have gotten the shoe off while riding the bike, I would have been fine. So every time I've fallen has been from a stop or near stop, and none of them had anything to do with my ability or inability to ride a bike. It was just simply because I was stuck on the pedal. I couldn't pull my leg off, or couldn't pull my foot off the pedal because the shoe was stuck on it. So let me give you guys a little word of warning. Take a look at your shoelaces. If you need shoelaces on your shoes, then definitely double knot them or something so it cannot untie, and make sure they're not so long that it becomes a problem that could tangle in your pedals. All right, I stopped. Oh, let's go back to this whole stop business. So people on the Facebook group, I would say more of them said that they stop, and some of them they said that they do a rolling stop. Some of them said that if they see no cars around, they roll past it, which is basically what I do. I know that you can't see everything that I see, and so when you see me going past the stop signs, you might be thinking I'm just blowing off these stop signs and not with any regard, but I look all over the place, and if I don't see anybody there, it's more dangerous for me to stop than it is for me to just kind of go right through it. So that is my excuse of not stopping at stop signs. But you'll notice that when there's cars You know, when there's cars there, more often than not, I will stop. Okay, I think we passed the we passed the post office again. I've done this last time. I'm too busy talking to you guys, and I totally forget to turn into the post office. Now here, I will not make a U-turn, as you know. I will simply stop and rotate my bike off here. Make sure there's no cars, and there is not. Yeah, passed it right up again. Now, the good part is I didn't go way past it. I just passed it by a couple of buildings. All right. So we're gonna make this left turn here. And I will have to get off the bike again because it's in the back pannier, zipped in there. So I will pull it out of here. And pop it in here. There we go. Zip this back up. Get back on the bike and off we go again. Alright, now technically there was a stop sign there. But there was no cars, I had to take it. I had to go. Alright, well we'll stop at the next stop signs. So, whereas some people say that they stop, I have to wonder if they really stop. I mean, one comment was, "What are you, a cop?" Yeah, I wonder how many people were really truthful and honest about it. I mean, it's easy to say you stop at every single stop sign, but do you really do it? I'd have to venture to say many of them don't, even though they say they do. Or maybe sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So the Bussy Woods video where I fell going to Bussy Woods, that was shot at 1080p, and I did it purposely because I wanted to see what the video would look like at 1080p at 24 frames a second at a standard bit rate. And quite honestly, on the computer monitor, it didn't look that much different, but I could tell that some sharpness issues were there. It wasn't quite as crisp looking. And so today I'm shooting at 4K again, 24 frames a second. The only changes I made is I lowered the ISO to 800 for the maximum ISO. Won't really affect us today, quite frankly, with that setting. And I changed the wide, the super wide. I have it set with the stabilization not at the highest stabilization. It's the second highest, which would give me more width. So I should get 10% more width than when I put that on boost. Now these videos are rather long that I do, and if I shoot in 4K, like I said, I'm going to have to limit it to a maximum of 30 minutes because it takes a long time to process that video and then also to upload that video to YouTube. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I noticed this on my my large monitor, or I should say my large television set. Whenever I watch YouTube, my videos only, there's always some fuzziness that happens. I don't know why, but it only happens on mine, and it doesn't happen in other people's videos. I don't know why that is. And I looked at it again with the 4K videos, and it's the same thing happening. So is it my computer? Is it what is causing that? I don't know. Do you guys see that? Do you see, like, after the Russ is Right Open happens, and as you watch my videos, do you see, I don't know, I guess it's not fuzzy, it's kind of like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it shakes, but it has some type of some type of blurring effect that happens, and it only happens every now and then, and it goes away and it comes back. Do you guys see that at all? Let me know if you see that. Alright, so I am not gonna go too far today. I'm anxious to get this video back home to take a look at it, and I may publish this for you to see as well, just so that I can get your feedback on what you notice, if you notice anything at all, going to that wider setting by eliminating the top tier of boost of the hyper smooth. All right, I'm gonna go up here. I don't usually go up onto the trail here, but I'm gonna do it and head back this way, just so that we have some of this greenery to see besides just the streets. Now the sun is in front of me, but it is covered by cloud. But technically, we are facing the sun. Yeah, what do you guys think about this width? Does it look good to you? And you get to see handlebars and everything. You should see my display screen as well. You know, at times, sometimes I find that my pedal assist will change by itself. I noticed that the video that I did of Prospect Heights showed my pedal assist at pedal assist level 5, and I had no clue that it was at level 5. I had thought it was at 3, but I did wonder why I was pedaling so well, because the assist was helping me. So sometimes it just jumps to a different level without me knowing. This time it went down to a level of 1. I usually have it at 3, although in the past I used to ride at 2, but since I have so much more battery power now, I tend to want to go a little bit faster, so I use 3 and eat up a little more battery that way. Let's go this way here. We'll go around the circle over here. This is another area we've been at before. So just reading some preliminary comments before walking out the door today. Today happens to be Monday, which I don't think you guys will see this video until the following Monday. I've got so many recorded at this point. Comments said that the GoPro footage brings me up to the next level. I appreciate that. You know, the worst thing is you spend all the money on a new camera and nobody likes it. That would be bad. But I do appreciate your honest opinions on it. If you don't like it, let me know. Tell me why you don't like it. If you like it, tell me why you like it. Now you might notice that I've been throttling more today. I do still feel my right knee that got skinned when I fell from the shoelace getting stuck on the pedal. So just to make my life a little bit easier, I'm throttling more than I usually would throttle. I would typically do about a 50-50, I think. It used to be 70-30, where I would pedal 70% more and throttle 30% in efforts to get a little more exercise and also to save on battery power. But now with the battery, I find that I don't do that as much. I tend to, at best, do a 50-50 and go farther. Okay, so I'm making up for the 50-50 instead of 70-30 by going more distance, which means you're still pedaling about the same amount, but going farther to do it. I'm pedaling now. So yeah, overcast day. I'm curious to see what this looks like. Now, when we were at Bussy Woods, you noticed that a lot of it was dark. And what happens is when the sunlight hits the lens, the camera sees a lot of sun coming at it. In the upper corners of the sky, it sees that bright sun. And then we're sitting in the shade of the forest preserve, so it's trying to compensate for that bright sun in the corner by darkening the scene. But of course, since you're in the shade, you're even darker. So you you can't get the best look if that happens. But I wanted to see what a full overcast day looks like with the GoPro. Now, they've mentioned that the GoPro does its best in bright sun, and that's only if you're in the bright sun and not in the shadows of the bright sun. And if you look at footages that, we were going through at Bussy that was like that, you'll see that the GoPro looks really good. The colors look really good and rich. But what about a muted day? What about the overcast day? What does that look like? Alright, stop sign here, so we do a full stop, and we go again, and there's an effort to get going again, by the way. Typically what I do is I will give it full throttle to get me started, and because again, I don't have the type of leg strength that's necessary to just pedal down to go through a stop sign. I still don't have that ability. So the throttle helps you do that, moves you along. But of course, that eats up more battery power too. Every time you hit that throttle hard, just to get yourself started up again from a dead stop. But legally speaking, if you're gonna stop at the stop sign, you need at least 3 seconds of a stop. Anyways, tell me what your feelings are on that too. Realizing that I do stop when necessary to stop. I do look before I make the decision to go through. You don't get to see all that. You don't see that much width. I mean, you don't see full left, full right that I see. But you see more now, of course, with the wider GoPro width. Oh, let me know too, do you notice any loss of the stabilization? Because like I said, I notched it down 1 to get additional width. I notched down the stabilization down by 1. There's your stop. There's no one around, quite frankly. There's no cars. And I can see that, but that's a full stop. Now, think about how many stops there are going to the places I'm going. It's tough for a bike to stop on every single one. I really do believe that we should also adopt the Idaho stop. where essentially it leaves it up to the bicyclist to make the decision whether they should yield or stop based on traffic. Okay, now here I need to rely on that car to set the yeah, okay, great. No, he's gonna turn. We might not be able to get a signal here unless somebody goes here. I know that this light will not change for me as a bicyclist. I don't have enough metal. Now, these things off to the side here, you can see I could go over to the sidewalk and push the button, but man, that's a lot of effort. If you're riding the street, then you got to go up on the sidewalk to push the button, then come back down to the street, because legally we're not supposed to ride on the sidewalk. We're supposed to ride on the street. If the button was close by, I'd be pushing it, but it's not. It's up on the crosswalk. So yeah, we need these cars to trigger. Anyways, that's all I really wanted to do. I appreciate you guys coming along again on a post office run. If you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll talk to you guys next time.